two men vanished from an abandoned house near the Yellow River. By morning, their footprints were found in the mud. They had not run, they had not slipped, they had not turned back. The tracks went straight from the house into the water, and when an old river worker heard what happened, he said the answer was not in the river. It was in the house. Years ago, Qin Shousheng and his crew were clearing flood mud near the Yellow River in southern Shandong. At night, they slept in a leaking shelter by the bank. No one had slept properly for days. So when one worker found an empty house nearby, they all went to look. It was abandoned but still standing. The rooms were empty and dry. Qin decided they would stay for one night, but as soon as they stepped inside, two workers stopped near the doorway. One rubbed his arms. "This place feels wrong," he said. The others stared into the back room and whispered, "Why is it so cold?" The others laughed it off. They were tired. The house was dry. That was enough. After midnight, wind came up from the river. At first it sounded ordinary. Then it rose and fell like distant voices over the water. The men blamed the river. They blamed exhaustion. They blamed anything except what it sounded like. Human. No one went outside. Before sunrise, Qin was shaken awake. Two men were missing. Their bedding was empty. Their tools and bags were still inside. And they were the same two men who had felt that strange cold. Qin led the crew to the riverbank. Soon they found two sets of footprints in the mud. The tracks began near the house, crossed the muddy flats, and went straight toward the water. No panic. No struggle. No steps turning back. It looked as if both men had walked into the Yellow River calmly, side by side. Then someone saw a yellow rubber shoe half buried in the mud. Qin recognized it immediately. He had bought those shoes for the crew in town. After that, nobody spoke. The river mud can look solid in the dark, but one wrong step can pull around your feet like wet clay. Still, one question stayed in Qin's mind. Why were they the only two who felt cold in that house? By noon, Qin called Hao Chun, an older local man who knew that river better than anyone. Qin took him to the house. Hao stepped inside, looked around once, and slowly raised his eyes to the roof. Old wooden beams crossed the ceiling. He stared at one beam for a long time. Then he said, "Take me to the river." At the bank, Hao studied the current and pointed to a quiet bend downstream. "If they are found," he said, "they'll be there." The crew searched that bend, and that was exactly where the missing men were recovered. Later, Qin asked how he had known. Hao pointed back toward the house. "Did you see the cuts on the beam?" No one had noticed them. Hao said old builders had a quiet way of marking houses like that. One cut in the main beam for one unnatural death. That beam had 7. Then Hao said the house had been built in the wrong place. Nearby, the river split into a strange three-way channel. The current slowed there, and things from upstream often drifted into the bend. Mud, wood, old debris, and sometimes things people did not want to name. Maybe it was only old river talk. But before sunset, Qin and his crew moved back to the leaking shelter. It was cold and damp, but no one complained, because above their heads there were no 7 cuts in the wood. Years later, whenever someone joked that an empty house was better than sleeping outside, Qin always gave the same answer. Some houses are empty for a reason, because some places are not abandoned. They are being avoided. If you enjoy strange mysteries and dark legends like this, subscribe for the next story.